Watch and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight, or this morning, it's 5:15. So this morning, I would like to discuss Jerry Schatzberg's 1971 film, The Panic in Needle Park, starring Al Pacino and Kitty Winn as Bobby and Helen, who are the focuses of this film. In addition to this, though, we have Richard Bright, who is best known as playing Al Pacino's lead enforcer / assassin, Al Neri, in The Godfathers. He's in this. He plays Al Pacino, Bobby's brother, Hank. Joey Santos is in this. He played Dennis Becker from the Rockford Files. And just like in the Rockford Files, he's still playing a police detective in this. I believe, who else was in this? I think this was Al Pacino's first lead in a film, and if I'm not mistaken, that's right, Raul Julia's in this, and it is Raul Julia's absolute first film. Paul Sorvino pops up in this quickly. He's in the same scene with Joey Santos, and what this tells the story of is Bobby and Helen, and that's Al Pacino and Kitty Winn, and they're both junkies living on the streets of New York, sort of various hotel rooms and whatnot. And it just tells the story about them meeting when Helen is homeless and not addicted to heroin, and Bobby is sort of homeless and totally addicted to heroin. And they meet and fall in love, and it just tells their story. And I have to say that this movie, I love this era. I love how scary New York was at this point. The early to mid 70s, New York was potentially the scariest place on earth. And I love how it seems like Bobby and Helen get closer to each other, and they always seem to have some sort of emotional heart-to-heart whenever there's a close-up of the needle going into the vein on one of them or somebody else. But my point is, they always seem to get a little closer, emotionally speaking, whenever there's a needle puncturing skin, injecting heroin into a vein, in a complete and total framed-up close-up. So I thought that was a nice touch, because on one hand, whereas they're slipping deeper and deeper into their addictions and their poverty, they're getting closer and closer emotionally, suggesting that they're never going to break up. Even though this is Al Pacino's first lead, and this is just prior to him doing The Godfather, and you can absolutely see that he is a superstar just waiting to be born, I do have to say that this movie belongs to Kitty Winn. She's predominantly a stage actor. She's known overall mostly for this and her part in The Exorcist. I believe she retired from acting in '83, and she came back, I think, in 2011, and when she did, she was still on the stage. She didn't come back to film. No more feature films for her. But yeah, like I said, this movie belongs to her. Her transformation from this really sort of sweet, cute, innocent, non-drug addicted homeless girl into this sort of sleazy, sort of knows how to cut every corner and how to steal anything everywhere sort of prostitute that she becomes by the end. The look on her face shifts. It's almost like her bone structure changes. She gets a little harder looking. And she just really, that had to be the most captivating part of this film, was watching Helen's, sort of fall from grace into the pits of hell with Bobby. And you're not exactly sure why she starts off homeless. She's living with Raul Julia's character. I love that this is Raul Julia's first film, too. She's living with him, and then she meets Bobby. And it's just one bad decision after another. And oh my God, the scene with the puppy. So they decide to they take a ferry to wherever it is off of New York, and they decide to adopt this puppy from this breeder. So they get him, and then on the ferry back, of course, they decide to shoot up in the bathroom. And when they come out, the dog is too close to the edge of the ferry, right at the back where the cars load. And Helen attempts to catch up to him, but he runs off and he just goes into the water. And the puppy's gone. So yeah, they kill a puppy in this. It's, junkies. I think of Christopher from The Sopranos when he falls asleep on Cosette. Adriana's dog. That was brutal. What else did I want to say? The other thing too is whenever Al Pacino ends up in prison, whenever Bobby ends up going away, he comes out clean and he's completely heroin free. But the first thing he does is he gets back on junk. And that makes absolutely no sense. I know he doesn't have a lot to live for, but Jesus Christ, the throes of addiction that these people end up in, it's over and over again, and the financial dire straits that accompany it. It's just uncanny that this cycle never ends. I also thought right at the end, the thing that triggers the beginning of their downfall is when this really awesome doctor decides to hook Helen up with some pills free of charge, and then he tells her not to hit him up again because she can't find any heroin and she's hurting. I thought that was really decent of him. And that triggers her getting caught and then ratting out Al Pacino. And yeah, the movie concludes with her waiting for Al Pacino when he gets out of prison. He knows she ratted him out, but it looks at this point that he might have forgiven her. And then they just walk off together, and she's kind of behind him because she's not sure if he's forgiven her or not. And then he stops and he says, well,